So welcome to the show, and today with me we have two very special guests. From Shenandoah, we have Marty Raven and Mike McGuire, and I'm really excited about getting to talk to them about not only the past of Shenandoah, but about what they have going on in the new year and what it looks like for them going forward. So I'd also like to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and more importantly, we'd really like to thank our sponsors. So we'll be right back.
Fuller Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, real people answer our phones. Serving North Alabama and Middle Tennessee.
I'm Mark Lowe, General Manager at University Chevrolet Buick and GMC. And to kick off the new year, bring in any trade-in and get $6,000 minimum towards the purchase of any select new vehicle. New 2015 Chevy Silverado Double Cab LTs are $10,000 off. New 2015 Chevy Malibu LSs are $6,000 off. Plus, get a 50-inch flat screen TV with the purchase of any select new vehicle.
So welcome back to the show, and as I told you before, we have Marty Raven and Mike McGuire with Shenandoah. So thank you guys for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you as well.
Well, thank you very much. So I understand that Shenandoah has reloaded.
We have reloaded.
I love that. So talk to me a little bit about the reloading process, if you will.
Well, first off, you know, we didn't want to call it a reunion thing because, you know, that's like everything else. You know, buzzwords and all the other kind of stuff. People move on to different words, and the reunion thing, it had pretty much been about beat to death, and so it really made more sense as far as an impact of exactly what we're doing. You know, with me coming back, I've been away from the group for the last 17 years, and so what we've done was we hadn't really changed a whole lot. We've just reloaded. In other words, you know, with the premise of reloading, we're ready to fire and go again. You know, and of course, Nat, unfortunately, you know, Jim Seals, our guitar player for so many years, and one of the original founding members of the band, he's retired. But we're moving right along. You know, and very excited about some of the things that are coming our way, some of the things that we have planned, and you know, Helen Keller was asked what would be worse than being born blind, and her reply was to have sight but no vision.
Wow. And
you know, for us to believe in what we had done in the past, and to believe that we still have what we want to do in the future, it takes a vision to do that, and therefore with what we know that we're capable of doing, and although the music business as a whole has changed tremendously since I left in '97, and even it was changing even before I had left. Yep. But it has certainly changed, literally 360. Nowadays, you don't need a major record label deal because of social media and the ways that you can get music out on YouTube and Reverb Nation and several other vehicles that, you know, that can bring your music to people. It's changed a great deal. So therefore, with the question that you asked, that's what our intentions are. Coming back, trying to recreate music that people love, that there's a bit of fondness of stuff that we've done in the past, and we're grateful for that. But to reload and to fire another bullet, you got to make sure that it's as keen as the ones that you fired years past.
Right.
And so therefore, you know, we've been in the studio, we've been working on some new material, and we still, you know, we still feel like we've got a long way to go. But now, if you ask us that 10 years from now, we're still going to tell you we still got a long way to go, because again, we just feel like there's a whole lot of things that we've wanted to do for the last longest.
I mean, how many times have you heard, I wish I could go back then and know what I know now?
Well, you all
That's kind of what Marty's
talking
talking about right there. I mean, we know a lot of things about the music business.
Right.
And to have a second chance You know, with Marty coming back and having a second chance to get out here and do this again
When you
and know
bring
the ins and outs.
everything that you all have done for 17 years, you get to bring all of that back in with the group. So
Exactly.
it's a little bit of what you all did before mixed with what's going on now, and I think that's great. I'm really looking forward to it, being a big 80s fan myself.
Well,
We've always been a band that it's always about the songs. You know, we've always, I think the good Lord gave us good ears for a hit song. You know, we knew one when we heard it. And
Or wrote it in both of your
or
cases.
wrote it, but that's just the thing. I mean, even though we're all writers and we want to have songs that we wrote on our records, we always do want that. But the priority is the song itself, whether we wrote it or somebody else wrote it. And I mean, that was the key, in my opinion, to our early success, was that, you know, if we didn't have good ears, we had people around us that did. Robert Byrne was one of our record producers, and he had one of the best ears. He taught us a lot about songs and how to pick songs, you know, and we've been very fortunate, you know, over the years to pick some of the best songs out there, even if we didn't write them.
and smart enough to do them when we heard them.
Right, isn't that
You know,
nice?
instead of allowing ego or anything like that to get in the way of some stuff. You know, a lot of acts that we had seen during our time, and it wasn't that we were looking to see anybody fail or anything like that, but it's just in the process of us learning songs and knowing what made a hit, we also realized what made an artist an artist. You know, Reba McEntire couldn't have done the songs that George Strait did.
Right.
But yet the man, you know, he's put together 40 years of one hit right after the other. But the reason why it is because he learned very quickly with Irv Woolsey and Ron Chancey and a lot of people that he worked with. He learned the technique of knowing what was good for him and what worked for him. And I think in the same case with us as Shenandoah, as Mike was speaking about with Robert Byrne and Rick Hall, and being able to find that direction, because the very, very first record that we did, we just compiled a bunch of material that literally shot in all kind of different directions. We really actually didn't have a certain style of music that we were doing. And then all of a sudden, when we found out which songs were working, then we found a direction. And what allowed us to have happen was that void that at that time we didn't know existed, because we didn't know what that void was in the business. But it allowed us to find a passageway so that we could start generating our music toward what people were wanting to hear, with songs like She Doesn't Cry Anymore, Mama Knows, Sunday in the South, 2 Dozen Roses, Church on Cumberland Road. And at that point then I think all of us, with Rick Hall and Robert Byrne, but all of us collectively as a band, I think we started seeing the direction started getting very plain to us. So therefore, when it came time to, you know, look at material and stuff like that, then we had a good idea of what we knew would work for us and what wouldn't. So therefore, we would try to stay away from things that we didn't. Now, it didn't keep us from recording them, but they wound up being just album cuts. But we still believed in the song enough to believe that they were good enough to put on the album, but also confident enough to know that if a label ever said, look, we're going to pull this one, then we felt comfortable at that too.
That was smart.
And that doesn't mean we were perfect every time
Well,
either. I mean, we missed a few along the way. We actually had Marty. It was our fault, because Marty wanted Two of a Kind working on a full house. And the rest of us felt like that song was a little more country than what we had evolved into at that time. But Marty really, really wanted to record that song, and we ended up not doing it. Well, that next summer, guess who had a huge record on it? Garth Brooks.
Yeah, some punk named Garth Brooks. And I'm still
The very
wondering about
idea.
him.
Yeah. So there were songs that we missed along the way too, you know. But that's okay.
Well, but you know, a lot of times part of growth is learning about what doesn't work. And not only you all have figured out what works for you all, and you also are mature enough to know that, hey man, that may not work for us, so let's go a different direction. One of the things that I like about you all is the harmony that you create, not only in the music but in the vocals, and that just seems to come so naturally for you all, and for someone that doesn't sing. Oh, I do sing. That doesn't sing very well. I certainly appreciate.
Well, that's me.
Well, the harmony that
I mean,
you
they don't
all
sing very well.
You all have, and it speaks to me because I love all that, the texture, if you will, of your music, and so I'm really looking forward to what you all have going forward.
Well, we've got a couple of things already recorded, and they're pretty good.
I'm
So
excited.
we can't wait for people to hear them, but it'll be after we, finish it up, of course.
Right. Well, I think we're going to take a break right now, and then after we get back, I'd like to talk about your Christmas album and then what you all have coming up for 2015.
Great.
So we'll be right back.
I'm Mark Lowe, General Manager at University Chevrolet Buick and GMC, and to kick off the new year, bring in any trade-in and get $6,000 minimum towards the purchase of any select new vehicle. New 2015 Chevy Silverado double cab LTs are $10,000 off. New 2015 Chevy Malibu LSs are $6,000 off. Plus, get a 50-inch flat screen TV with the purchase of any select new vehicle.
Spring, summer, or Mystic Falls, Rockbridge Canyon is the jewel of Northwest Alabama. Or hiking our trails. We have some of the most beautiful scenery found in America. Call ahead and reserve lodging or campsites at 205-935-3499. We are located behind Town Hall in Hodges. That's Rockbridge Canyon, the jewel of Northwest Alabama.
Fuller Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, real people answer our phones. Serving North Alabama and Middle Tennessee.
So welcome back. All right, guys, let's talk about what's going on for 2015. So you're touring again, and you started in Canada back in the fall in 2014. And so what's coming up for 2015?
Marty's first shows with us actually was right before Halloween. The first 2 shows we did, we had to go to Canada to do those shows.
International. So you're international.
That's right. We're all over.
You're like that.
We've been to Venezuela and Tokyo, Japan. We've been all over the world. But anyway, we were on the plane headed back from Canada, and it was like 2 days before Halloween. And I remember thinking, you know what? It's not even Halloween yet. If we'll get in the studio next week, we still have time to record a Christmas record. So I made mention to Marty that, we should do that. And he said, well, let's get all the guys. And we came in here in this room. And
it's awfully convenient that you have
very
a studio in your family.
Thanks to my brother Bud.
Just saying.
Yeah, Bud owns this place, so he's kind enough to let us kind of have a run of it. But anyway, we came in here, and as far as the material goes, Marty and I had written a lot of songs over the years and had, I think, 5 songs between us. Either we wrote together or wrote by ourselves or with somebody else. And so we chose those 5 songs and added 1 traditional song. We did The First Noel as a traditional song. And we just came in here and recorded it. We'd been wanting to record a Christmas album for years, in particular of songs that we'd written. Those songs were very special to us. There's one song, as a matter of fact, the one that Marty and I wrote called The Family Tree, that my cousin Steve, who's standing over here behind this camera or somewhere over there, there's a line in that song that talks about, and from somewhere overseas, my cousin's coming home on his Christmas leave. Well, Steve was in the Navy when we wrote that song. We wrote it when we lived here in Muscle Shoals, and I just had Steve on my mind when we wrote that, and so that's what that line meant, was him. So
that's so nice.
We have a lot of special songs to us, and we were fortunate enough to come in here and record this record and get it out barely in the nick of time.
And so it went well?
Yeah, it went well. As far as we know, we hadn't seen the numbers yet on the sales,
but from what we understand, the numbers are good, and we really didn't do it for the numbers' sake,
right.
As much as we did trying to create a little bit more of a ripple of what 2015 is going to be. And while moving on, the process. I mean, we literally pulled off of what we've been doing as far as a new project to do the Christmas record. As Mike was speaking, about coming in from Canada. Normally you record a Christmas record, what's normally done, and nothing's normal anymore, but usually the norm would be you'd cut a Christmas album in June, July, or August. And that way it would give the parties involved, a record label or whoever you were associated with, it would give
Your
them
PR person like me.
Absolutely.
Time to do
it would
that,
give them
right?
the opportunity to be able to set it up and to be able to get it in placement. As far as the distributors and all that kind of stuff, they had time to deliver it, with product done and that kind of stuff. Well, now with social media, it like Mike was saying a while ago, it's completely different. It's a different ball game. So with that as it was, we wanted to continue to kind of create the riff in the water about, listen, Shenandoah, they are coming back, and of course the positive feedback that we've got from the project, again, not related to what the money figures are, how many was sold. I mean, did we sell platinum? Did we sell gold? That absolutely was not in our works, not in our plans, not in our thoughts whatsoever. It was just nothing more than trying to make sure that we still had talk, and that there was still a buzz, that there was still a conversation being made. There was still an outlook of somebody going, I know they're doing this, but now,
Hey,
man,
have
I
you
can't
heard
wait
this?
until
Let's see what's
I
going
can't
on.
wait till what happens. When 15 rolls around. What are they going to be coming with? If this is as good as what it is, Lord, what are we to look forward to? And what we're planning on doing again is of course, as age will and with technology is, there's certain things that you have to do to stay up without being left behind. And look, me personally, I'm not very big in change. I don't like a lot of change, but I do think when you try to recreate yourself, there has to be change with that. And whether it's change that you like, or whether you keep it at a minimum, or whether you go wide open with it, you still got to open yourself up to the point that it allows people that are used to hearing certain things, that ability to hear those, while you still don't compromise. And it's been a little bit of a tightrope for us to walk, because we don't want to lose what our demographics say, 35 to 65, or where our demographics are. Now, when we were younger, it wasn't that way. But now, with the ability that we have, and to be able to do the music with what we've been doing, now we're able to go ahead and really not compromise so much about what people used to love and used to want to hear from us. We can still do that. Just the way that we approach it, we just approach it with the modern technique of being able to record the way that you need to, the sounds that need to be up where it needs to be, and never, as Mike said a while ago, never compromise a lyric. It literally always comes down to the song and what it says to somebody, and it's my job to try to be able to deliver every bit of the emotion and the feeling in it. But if the emotion and the feeling's not in the lyric, it's not going to be worth singing. So therefore, with us being able to do that, we're going to try to continue to carry with all that in mind into 2015 and beyond.
Well, that's great. Well, I do want to hear about what upcoming dates you have coming up, and Mike and I talked about briefly a live album from some recordings that you all have.
Yeah.
So after a word from our sponsors, we'll be right back.
Fuller Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, real people answer our phones. Serving North Alabama and Middle Tennessee.
I'm Mark Lowe, General Manager at University Chevrolet Buick and GMC. And to kick off the new year, bring in any trade-in and get $6,000 minimum towards the purchase of any select new vehicle. New 2015 Chevy Silverado Double Cab LTs are $10,000 off. New 2015 Chevy Malibu LSs are $6,000 off. Plus, get a 50-inch flat screen TV with the purchase of any select new vehicle.
I brought flowers to your door last
Are you rolling? So welcome back. I love being serenaded.
I don't wanna make it right. You say I'm not welcome here. I know it ought to be perfectly clear, but I can't help but wonder what it might be like. Here we go. If I had 2 dozen roses and an old bottle of wine, if I really could have overlooked to change your mind, if I could cry a little harder and get a little less sleep at night, if I had 2 dozen roses, would it change your mind? Would it now?
Maybe. Does it have jewelry with it?
Well, I mean, I guess you could sling some jewelry in it. I mean, if he's willing to bring 2 dozen roses and a bottle of wine. he
What's
can
some
bring
jewelry?
We keep
Yeah.
thinking 1-800-Flowers is going to call us
I
one day
think
for
they
a
should.
commercial, but we'll
They
see.
should. Y'all are lucky
Been
that my mic
25
was on.
years.
I almost turned it off.
And see, but
Same.
then again, see, that's part of the vision that we got. There's several things that we're gonna try, and several things that we've already got a little bit of a bite on a few things that and something from the powers that be. We're not supposed to say anything about it, but
I
it's
love
going to
powers
be
that
very.
be.
It's going to be very, very
Very exciting.
exciting.
Very exciting. Powers that be don't tell me anything because I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. And I know that comes as a shock to you all. I get so excited. It's like, oh, I know something big. Okay, so knowing something big, and I appreciate the serenade. So is this what folks can expect a little of? A little old Shenandoah with some new? Do you all have some new?
Yeah, I mean, people, when
songs
they
you've
come
been
to see
working on?
us, when people come to see us in our live shows, they want to hear those hits. that
Well,
we
of
have.
course they do. They want to
yell 'em out.
sing and
when we come to Sheffield in May.
for the
at
street party.
The big street party, street
Street
dance.
dance.
street
street
dance,
party.
street party, Twister.
It'll be on the street.
Right out there in Sherfield.
Sherfield.
It's in Sherfield right there. You can't miss it. It's
You're
going to be right
welcome
down
in.
Main Street. And we'll be doing the Sunday in the South, the Mama Knows, and just the whole lineup, and by that time,
Some
by the
new
time May
stuff.
rolls around, we'll have the new material out.
That's
So,
right. And and another thing about that show too is, of course, like Marty said earlier, Jim Seals, our guitar player all these years, has retired and not with us, but he's going to be on that show with us.
Oh, how
So,
fun!
he's
so
gonna
he's
come
going to
and-
reload.
He's going to reload with us on that one particular show. But
just another bullet in the chamber.
that's right. Another little secret there.
I love that. I won't tell anybody.
That wasn't from the powers that be, though. That's not anything that's.
Well, it could be.
In fact, we want everybody to know Jim's
We'll
coming
act like
along.
it's
Well,
that
good.
show.
Well, we're glad Jim's going to be there at the Street Party Twister event.
Yeah,
Right.
spin the bottle,
Yeah,
Twister.
yeah.
Right there.
Right there,
Sherfield.
Sherfield.
Right out of Tuscumbia.
Okay, so Mike, you were talking to me before this about that you found some old recordings and you all may put together a live album. So do you think that's going to happen?
Well, the live album's done.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's finished.
Yeah,
It's ready to go, actually.
Yeah, I mean, while we were
When's it
recording
going to
the,
go, Powers That Be?
well, we didn't.
Well,
Maybe sooner rather than later. We'll
Good.
see. We had something came up recently, but we were planning on waiting and doing it later because what we really want to do is get new material recorded and get it out for people because they've been asking all these years, when are you going to do something new with Marty? So that was the
Yeah,
plan.
Marty.
Yeah, that was the plan, is to re-record a new record. But while we were doing the Christmas record, I stumbled on a box in the studio here that had a bunch of old DAT tapes, which was, in the old days, that was the digital tape, and it was like, at the time, was like the thing. And the guy that was our sound man all these years, Brent Sparks, he used to record us every night. And I mean, this was probably, what, 25 years ago, most of these shows?
Yeah, and let me say this too, Keith. The reason why he would record is because every night we would sit on the back of the bus.
Yeah, work on our
and
show.
we literally would critique what we did that night, what we could do to make it better. Because again,
You had a debrief.
Yes.
Yeah.
well, that is okay if that's what you want to call it.
A debrief party twister.
We debriefed.
Debriefed.
Anyway, so what we would do is we would critique how we could make it better, and I mean, not braggadocious. I promise you, I don't mean this, but we were in a show. We were playing at a show in Houston, and it was a big outdoor street thing. And when we got done, of course, we were out there, along the fence line, and this was after autographs. We usually do a meet and greet before show and after. Anyway, so we were along the fence line where people were continuing to, we were talking and stuff, and some folks drove by in a car and was yelling Milli Vanilli. And
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
no, I mean, yeah, and Milli Vanilli, now I'm going to have to explain this. Milli Vanilli was a group that was accused of doing their record live when they were playing and trying to convince people that was them live.
Lip syncing.
Yeah.
So, in other words, they were driving by and then they'd come back and Milli Vanilli. And the reason why it was is because our show was so tight and it was so good. It was live.
Right.
I mean, we didn't have anything
What
recorded.
a lovely problem to have.
No, I know, but the thing about it was, they kept going back, and they was thinking that was aggravating us, and we got to thinking, well, look, if they're thinking that,
Yeah.
then we're working on the right stuff. So anyway, that's I didn't have to want to go into all that, but I'm glad that I did.
Well, we stumbled on that box of tapes.
That's Millie right there.
Right.
I guess
we stumbled on that
Vanilli?
box of tapes, and I went through and listened to every. I mean, there was probably 20 tapes in there, 20 shows, and I listened to all 20 versions of 2 Dozen Roses, for instance, and took the best version of that, and we put it on our Pro Tools rig here, recorded it, and then we did that with every song on all the shows, and took the best version of every song in our show and strung them together with our own crowd noise. I mean, it was our crowd
Right.
making their own noise, so
Yeah.
we used it in between the songs, and we put together a live record that's, I mean, golly, most times when people record a live record these days, they'll literally bring a recording studio in a truck, and have individual tracks just like you would do here in the studio and make it sound perfect, But and there's some flaws on this because it literally was live. It was recorded straight to 2-track tape, and we didn't get a chance to do anything to it. So we just, it was actually us, the original 5 guys from Shenandoah.
Well, we
recording.
look forward to you putting it out. So will you, I'm sure there'll be some fanfare about it. You'll use social media, all the kinds
Absolutely.
of tours. Maybe you'll be ready to sell some at your merch table at the street party.
That's the plan.
Well, we are about out of time, so do you mind playing us out?
Sure.
What y'all
wanna
wanna do?
Laura?
Let's hit this. This will be your favorite.
It's just for me. So thank you for joining us, and thank you again for our sponsors and for Marty and Mike for taking their time to be with us today.
Well, me and Jimmy Crowder and this single cigarette, traps down in the stall out of the barn. 3 puffs later, we were sick as we could get. Prayed we'd get better before we got home. She saw me coming through the back door screen. I knew the minute when she looked at me. Mama knows, Mama knows. Sometimes I think she's got a window to my soul. Mama knows, Mama knows. And even when I think it doesn't show,